it's Melinda with Boss Mare Shearing coming to you live from the U-Haul. I'm headed to Erie this morning to shear a flock of Romney crosses, so I figured we'd talk about Romneys today. Romneys are a English breed. They used to be called the Romney Marsh, so very resistant to foot rot because marshy, wet areas is where foot rot, lives and survives. So survival of the fittest said that the sheep that didn't get affected by foot rot could still be able to traverse and survive by grazing. If they became too lame and everything else, unfortunately, natural selection says, sorry, you don't get to hang out anymore. But so they're long wool, they're clean faced, they come in white and natural colored. So they could be white, gray, black, brown. Honestly, the natural colors are my favorite to shear, just because sometimes when you crack open that fleece, that variegation underneath is just beautiful. You'll grab one out of the pen and it'll be like sun-bleached brown on top, but once you get into those long blows, it's a gorgeous silver and black variegated fleece. That being said, everybody says that they're really good for hand spinning. I wouldn't know. I tried spinning one time and hated it. I digress. Amy talked me into doing a competition for her team. It was a week-long competition to spin so many ounces at least, and then you would submit your skein of yarn to be judged by the collective via likes and comments. I did a bag of Florida Cracker Roving from Ross Farms, obviously, on an EEW Nano, and no, that's not for me. I couldn't tell you how many times I threatened to throw that across the house, burn it to the ground, cussed, screamed, almost cried at one point, because this should be easy, all you have to do is feed it into the thing. The kids thought it was hysterical to watch me lose my cool, because I don't lose my cool very often. So when I do, it's kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. My mother is a natural redhead. I didn't get the hair color, but I sure as heck got the temperament. But I'd like to try spinning again. And that being said, if anybody has a wooden, actual sit on the floor, treadle spinning wheel that I could borrow for a week, please get a hold of me. I'd like to actually try this again. I have access to so many beautiful fleeces, and some that are slightly sentimental to me. I have a Jacob fleece now from a client that recently passed away from lymphoma, and I would love to make a hat out of it or a cowl or something just to hold on to that little bit of a memory. But sending a single fleece to the mill is not cost effective or practical. So if anybody has a spinning wheel that they'd let me borrow, please get a hold of me. But anyway, back to the Romney Sheep. My fun fact about them is they came to the Americas in 1900, early. The Romney Association was founded in the United States in 1911. And in the early years, the 50s and 60s, they actually outnumbered Merinos in New Zealand. I think the majority of the flocks, so 75 to 80% of the flock in New Zealand in the early 50s and 60s was Romney, not Merino. Don't get me wrong, Merino has its purposes. It's a beautiful fine wool fleece, but it's not the catch-all wool that their wonderful marketing team has made it out to be. There are other applications where a coarse wool or medium wool or a double-coated breed would be preferable, but it's just like Angus beef. I can get on a whole soapbox about Angus beef because that was actually from Worcester, Ohio, where I went to school, and we did a lot with them. But after reading their bylaws and everything and actually understanding their marketing, it's literally just marketing. So it's the same thing as Merino. Now, Merino, if you want to make a wool bikini, absolutely, Merino 100%. If you want a nice, water-resistant, outerwear, pick something else. Jacob, Cheviot, anything like that. Something that's harder to felt, anything else. Anyway, I say that as I'm wearing Wool-Aid Band-Aids. Not sponsored by them, but would love to be, because I use these constantly. These are Band-Aids made out of merino fleece. They have a natural cotton little pad thing for, where your wound is. This is literally what I use when I get hurt. Because, they biodegrade. They'll be gone from this earth in like 4 to 5 years, instead of like the plastic Band-Aids that are gonna be here until we're gone. But yeah, so Wool-Aid Band-Aids, I wish I was sponsored by them. So that's my little bit about Romney's. Some updates is Dwayne's transplant surgery is scheduled for July 31st. I'm working on this pair of socks right here. This is a dark gray and deconstructed rainbow by Desert Panda Fiber Arts that I got while I was in Nashville at Nash Yarn Fest. She actually liked the post when I posted this last week. There's no pattern to these. These are just vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady that I decided to make fancy with using the deconstructed rainbow for the cuff, and then decided they needed a little bit of zhuzhing, so I found a little sheep chart and put the sheep on the ankle part, and then I'm gonna make the heel and the toe that deconstructed rainbow as well. The whole time I'm knitting these, I'm just manifesting good vibes, because I'm hoping to have these done to wear to the hospital the day of Dwayne's transplant as luck. And then I have another work in progress that I need to start on for Amy, out of the new Scottish sock yarn, and I think I got some Cotswold lace weight that I'm going to do double to do the Keller pattern that I have planned on there. That's next. Stuff coming up is Dwayne's surgery, and then I'll be in Michigan, and then there's the Pittsburgh Creative Arts coming up. I don't know, but I'm gonna go back to listening to my podcasts now that I finally took this. It only took me like 4 takes. I don't like editing, so I try and do it right. But if you guys are bored or hanging out at the pool, knitting or anything, and you want a good podcast to listen to, I have 2 of them that you could listen to. One is Sheep and Wool School by Amy. She's on YouTube, and she's trying, life stuff has happened, but she's trying to do a new episode every Saturday of Sheep and Wool School. And then the other good one is Table 10 Podcasts with Rachel and Renee. That's a pair of girls. They're sisters from my area in Pittsburgh. I've met them. They're hysterical. My cheeks actually hurt from listening to them. I put it on YouTube because that's where it's from, and then I put it on the side seat so I don't get yelled at for watching videos while I'm driving. And I cackle. They're hysterical. So I'm going to put some clips of shearing some Romney crosses at the end of this, and I'll see you guys maybe next week. Depends. I don't know. It's all on my schedule because I'm horrible and I didn't look. But I'll do this, and then we're gonna switch from like sheep school over to just farming podcast, because I'm done shearing after this month. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I've been waiting for this day since March. I'm kidding. I love shearing, but I'm just tired and I need a break. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks. And yes, that's exactly what you're thinking. That is a gigantic sheep. This is a ewe, not even a ram. This was one of the few of the 17 in this flock that I was actually able to put in position and shear in positions. Watch me struggle and try and pick this giant ewe up and put her back in position. Lord. I've decided honestly I'm going to rename this sheep Large Marge. Look at that belly. And sometimes when they fight, the easiest thing to do is just sit down, make sure you're not putting too much pressure on their head or their neck, and keep on shearing because it's not worth the fight.
Got some lights too.
Okay. I just sprinkle on all of them, huh? Is that a lot of it?
Just enough to coat them.
Just a lot of it. So we're just basting with the food and sprinkle all over it.
Not very fun. Straighten your leg.
I'm going to ask one more time what it's called.
You're being so pleasant. It's ridiculous.
What'd you call it?
What?
What's that stuff called?
Like permethrin dust?
Permethrin dust?
Yeah. It's permethrin 10 or something like that.